Good morning and welcome to Thursday Thought. My thought today is a sombre one, loss. It's an appropriate one to the season. Today is, after all, Maundy Thursday, when Christians commemorate the betrayal and trial and execution of Jesus. But it's also a personal one for us here at Moorland. Just 2 weeks ago, we were all shocked and upset by the news of Liam Rain's sudden death. And I know many of you were also shocked and upset at the death of Adam Gibb, the traffic officer who was killed in the M6 crash last month, who was known to many of you. And in recent years, you've also lost Michael Jobson from the South Sandwich Room in May 2015, Linda Mackay from Junction 38 Retail in November 2014, and Wayne Lightburn from South Catering in July 2013. Death always comes as a shock. Abraham Lincoln apparently said that only two things in life are certain, death and taxes. So why, given that death is a universal human experience, does it always feel like something that shouldn't be happening to us? Well, I find that death is still a bit of a taboo. I found in my parish ministry that many people still have a vague superstition that if you talk about death, you might make it happen. So don't talk about it. And perhaps that's partly why it feels like something that shouldn't really be happening to us. But death is a universal experience. And the trouble with our reticence to talk about it is that what we can't talk about becomes scarier than it needs to be. A bit like in the Harry Potter books when no one will mention the name of Voldemort. And being scared is not good for us. But I believe there's always hope in the midst of any loss. In truly tragic situations like Liam's, it might be hard to spot. But those who experience tragic loss also find often that they have a strength that they didn't know before, and find that small moments of mercy just keep happening to them, just often enough to keep them going. And that leads me to believe that there is hope. I'm not one of those people who believes that there's a purpose to suffering. I think you'd have to believe in some cruel kind of God to believe that. But I do believe that the worst kind of loss can lead to good, and it can all be redeemed. In the Christian tradition, at this time of year, we remember that God himself took a path of suffering. We don't make light of death, or pretend it isn't happening, or fail to talk about it. We face it full on. It's a grim reality. But we do believe that God inhabits suffering and loss, and he does it with hope and new life. Now, I know that some of you think we're mad to believe such things. Sometimes we think we're mad, to be honest. You probably know that parody of Rudyard Kipling's If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, you haven't assessed the situation correctly. Surely anyone who could talk about hope when faced with death hasn't assessed the situation correctly. But life is a miracle. The very fact that you exist is extraordinary. Your existence is the result of countless improbable survivals against the odds. From evolving protoplasma, your ancestors have made the right survival choices consistently to avoid hunger or illness or ending up as a predator's breakfast. They have survived eye-watering levels of infant mortality and gone on to produce you. Your life is a miracle against all odds. The chances of your existence are infinitesimally small, so small as to make you despair, and yet here you are. Now, interestingly, evolutionary scientists now believe that evolution was so stacked in favour of our creation that our existence was unavoidable. You had to be. Life is an unstoppable force. And I think perhaps the other reason why death feels like something that shouldn't be happening to us is because we innately sense that life is an unstoppable force, more powerful than death. Now, as Christians, we attribute this to a divine creator, one who made us deliberately, but also who died and rose again to save us from death. But even if you can't share my faith, you must marvel at your own existence. On any mathematical probability, you shouldn't exist, yet here you are. And indeed, you are more than just the atoms that make you up. Every atom in your body has changed since the moment of your birth, but you are still you. And why would you not still be you, even when every atom of your body has been made into something else? Yes, you are dust, and to dust you shall return. But there's no reason to believe that you should not still be you. So, however black it might look in the darkest hour of our loss, hope and life is no less likely than they were in the beginning. So do not be afraid. If you want to take something practical from this morning, I suggest you remember that loss is a universal human experience, and it is best lived out as a shared experience. The poet John Donne wisely pointed out that none of us is an island. We're all deeply connected to one another. So talk to someone about how you feel. And when you come across somebody who's suffering, invite them to talk to you about what they're going through. We should always go through these things together. Indeed, I believe that we're never alone in our loss. I believe that when we suffer, there's a God walking beside us, carrying his cross, assuring us that even in the valley of death, we're not alone, never alone, always valued. But even if you can't share that belief, I hope that you can at least believe that there is always hope, even in death. I know it seems impossible, but that's just an illusion. The more I think about this extraordinary miracle of our existence, the more I believe that nothing is impossible, that nothing is lost, and in the end, all will be well, and all will be well, and all manner of things will be well. Happy Easter.